it's bun time. Welcome to my February plan with me. It's time to set up February in my bullet journal, and this month I went with a very minimal theme, which isn't really something I'm used to. I was going to do a completely different theme, but it ended up not working out. I had the setup pretty much finished, and I flipped through it, and I just really didn't like it, so I ripped it all out. I was feeling really discouraged, and I thought, oh, I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not artistic or creative enough. And I moped around for a bunch before I finally had an epiphany, and I was like, you don't have to be artistic and creative to bullet journal. All you need is a notebook and a pen. So for the cover page, I wanted to do a big black circle in the center of the page, and to make things easier for myself, I cut out a black circle and stuck it in. Then I took my white gel pen and I wrote in Feb in a simple cursive font. I used this font throughout the setup, even though I'm not very good at cursive. Did anyone else start learning cursive in grade school, and then one day they brought in laptops to work on, and then no one ever spoke of cursive ever again? On the other page, I wrote out a quote that says, "Failure is success in progress," which I really loved, especially for this month since I failed at setting up February at first. It's a good reminder that it's okay to fail sometimes, and when you try again, you probably will have learned something. For the calendar, I just did a very simple calendar. I like the look of a simple calendar in the middle of the spread, so I did a 4x4 dot grid space squares. Well, I say squares, but you have to imagine the vertical lines. So I'm just using my ruler to measure out the spaces and drawing in the lines with my pen. Since I didn't sketch anything out ahead of time, I'm taking extra care to make sure that everything is the correct size. Well, I say that, but then you can see me drawing an extra long line, but I go back and fix that with white gel pen later. And then I wrote in February in that same monoline cursive font. Then I used my pen to draw in some circles to put the dates of the month in. And I used a black brush pen to black everything out so I can go over it with white gel pen. And after I was done filming, I decided to go back and add a little bit of black washi tape to one side because I thought it looked kind of plain, so I thought the washi tape on the one side of the page would kind of balance it out. Next up is my habit tracker. This month I decided to put my goals to do and to buy on the same spread as my habits. I didn't actually sketch anything out ahead of time like I normally would, so I'm just using my ruler to measure out how much space I will need for my habit tracker. Here's the trick. To align the text to the left side of the box for my habits, I wrote in all of the items backwards so that I know I had enough room. And I can't believe I didn't mess up the spelling here. Normally I would pencil it in first, but I went for it with pen just from the get-go this time, which was really nerve-wracking. wrote out all of the days of the month at the top of the box so I could keep track of my habits. After that, I drew in the boxes for my goals, to-dos, and to buy. I tried to measure it out so it all kind of looked nice together, but I don't know if it worked out. And then using that same monoline cursive font, I wrote in all of the headers. And then for some reason I thought it would be really cool to draw in all of the dots, even though you can see the dot grid in the box. I did it last month because I put green all over and I could barely see the dots. But there is no green this time, so there really wasn't any reason to do it, but I did it anyway, and it's done now, so oh well. And I used some washi tape to kind of frame the spread on the corners there. And finally, I'm setting up my first weekly for February. It's the same weekly I've been using for months now. It's got a section for notes, a section for goals, and all of the weekly events or to-dos that I have to get done on a certain day on the right side there. Lately, I've been using the goals section to track all of the exercises I'm doing throughout the day because I really hate going out and doing one big workout, so I just do some mini exercises in the AM and the PM. So that's a good way to track that for me. But I think next week, or the next time I set up a weekly, I'll have a space that's just for fitness. And if you're curious about the supplies I use for this setup, I can tell you I only use a couple of different pens because it's a very simple setup. You can tell there's like one white gel pen, one like Pigma Micron pen, and then there's the black brush pen that I use for blocking out some black lines. That's pretty much it. And so if you want to know what I'm using, I'll have everything linked in the description, including the journal I'm using, and anything that you would want to know will be in the description. Also, I'm not sure how many of you will be interested in this, but I'm going to be setting up a knitting journal soon once I get all of the supplies that I need. I know not everyone's into knitting. I'm a bit of a knitting fiend, and I've been really liking putting my knitting patterns in my journal recently. You can tell that little black tab on the side. That's the knitting pattern I have been working on, marked in my journal. So I want to do something kind of scrapbooky for that, and if that's something that you want to see, just leave a comment. Let me know. And that's really it for the setup. It's really simple this time. I hope you like this really minimal theme. It only took like a half hour for me to set up, which is great if you're really busy all the time. I'm usually not busy, so that's why I can normally do more aesthetic setups, but this time I wanted to do something a little more simple. If you're ever feeling discouraged regarding your aesthetic or artistic bujo, I highly recommend doing something that's kind of simple, you know? This isn't really going back to basics as outlined by writer Carol, but it's set up that I know is going to work for me, and that's really all that matters. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.